Let's recording and media. As consumers, we are bombarded by it at every turn, like the Incredible Hulk being bombarded by gamma rays. But what makes some media endure, while others are banished to the forgotten black hole of obscurity, never to be heard from again? Who or what decides this? Hetero life mates Steve and Yahel want to know, and they want to know now. This is Obscurity Now. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Obscurity Now, the show that takes a look at weird and retro pieces of movie, TV, video game, comic books, and we decide if they should be tossed into the black hole of obscurity, never to be heard from again, or remembered for the rest of time. I am one of the hosts, Steve, and with me is a guy that moves his lips a lot, but never really says anything. It's
Yahel. See, I moved my lips, so I didn't really say much. Steve, you're clairvoyant.
Hey,
a philosopher, much like
Andy. Yeah, man, there's some harsh truths in the movie that we're gonna about to review here. Andy the Talking Hedgehog. More than I was expecting to get from such a film.
Yeah, this movie, it's all over the place.
Yeah, let me start off by saying sorry. But
it was man, it was weird. Like I'll tell you this much. After like 15 minutes, man, I was like really tempted to just turn it off and just like bullshit my way through it. It was just boring as hell. But then by the end of the movie, I was like laughing.
Yeah, oh, me too. Me too. Yeah.
Uncontrollably. So even now, I'm not sure how I feel about this movie.
I know. It's pretty crazy. And well, I mean, I guess since we're already talking about it, let's just dive right in. What do you say?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, here we go.
Welcome to your feature presentation.
All right, and now we are in the Obscuritron, where we have a beautiful slideshow of all the awesomely shot footage and some BTS of Andy the Talking Hedgehog. This picture looks so weird. It's a Dean Kane with all the cheerleaders and his little girl. I don't know. I just picture him like taking a similar picture like that at Hooters with a bunch of Hooters waitresses or something.
Right.
Because I guess that's the age that he's at. It's weird. He looks old and young at the same time. Like,
yeah, it's really weird. I guess it just depends, like the angle that he's being filmed at or whatever.
Yeah, because sometimes I'm like, oh look, there's Lois and Clark's Superman, and then when they move, I'm like, oh, who's that? Like someone's dad. All right. Anyway, so yes, dear viewer / listener. We are talking about Andy the Talking Hedgehog, which is a family film.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Man, that is...
sometimes it's a family film. Sometimes I'm just like, I don't think kids should watch this.
Oh, I know. Well, I have a theory that, I don't know, I'm thinking, do you think they actually wrote out the script? Or maybe just did an outline and sort of improv their way through it. Like I was kind of getting, I feel like they just put the camera on some people and was just like, okay, we're just gonna run through this, and you're just gonna say whatever you want till we get it.
I don't know. I mean, I definitely think like some scenes had to have been improv, right? Like some of the hedgehog stuff, where like the guy doing the writer, director / voice of the cat and Andy the Hedgehog, Joel.
Right, Joel Paul Reisig. Reisig. Yeah.
Reisig, yeah.
They call him JPR. JPR.
Yeah, sure, I'm sure they do. But yeah, I mean, the scenes where he's kind of like talking about what the hedgehog is doing as if he is the hedgehog, like that had to be improvised.
Sure.
The scene with like Dean Kane and the hedgehog on the bed.
Oh,
where, like,
wait, let's save that for later, man. That's
All right. You're right.
Okay, so let's dive right into the IMDb here. This movie was released November 10th, 2018. And I'll just go ahead and dive into the synopsis here. Okay. After a girl's wish for all animals to have the ability to speak comes true, local robbers try to capture her talking hedgehog. Sort of? I mean, I guess they do. Anyway, this...
Well, did you, upon your research, did you happen to come across what the initial description for this movie was on IMDb? The original description?
No, I only found this one. Oh, please.
So I guess like the movie was announced, quote unquote, kind of like by Tara Reid on her Twitter account, and like the quote unquote poster, which she actually has said in interviews that she thought it was like really bad, but like the poster was so bad it's good. So she seems to have a pretty good sense of humor.
Well, this is the woman who was in Sharknado, so she pretty much has to. Yeah.
And this was made like pretty much at the height of the Sharknado films. This came out.
Right.
But anyways, I guess like somebody must have like seen that and went to IMDb and just like created the page and filled in their own description. And it was pretty funny. So the initial plot summary was Tara Reid brings her Oscar award-winning prowess to this documentary about a hedgehog that Dean Kane farted on, giving it the ability to talk. It's a fun-loving family movie that will for sure make you say, "Wowza, that's a stinky fart." And the summary was attributed to Scott Baio.
Oh, nice. Oh, well, I did find a little something like that down in the. I guess user review / comments, and it's the top
there's some funny reviews.
Top review on IMDb says Dean Kane deserves an Oscar. This is a brave movie about a man's descent into madness. Dean Kane perfectly depicts the struggle of addiction and depression as he battles his trauma in the manifestation of a talking hedgehog. Which that's actually pretty accurate. Like,
yeah, it kind of is. Like the movie ends up kind of turning into like. Halfway through, it becomes two separate movies in one, kind of.
Right.
But anyways, did you want to talk about? I know I usually talk about the cast, but did you want to talk about director, producer / voice actor Joel Paul? Because I know you did some research.
Yeah, I mean, just basically this Joel Paul Reisig guy. I guess he's done quite a few films like this. He's also directed. I mean, and one of these has to be your favorite, I assume. Horse Camp, Love Tale, Horse Dancer, and Baby Bulldog. Basically.
By the way, Baby Bulldog, it's a film about a girl that wants a puppy, and you know who stars in that one?
Who?
Dean Kane and Tara Reid.
Oh, wow. So yeah, they must have met somewhere and really hit it off.
Well, this guy, I'm sure you like found that he, I guess, created the production company, the Be Your Own Hollywood production
/ cult, I think.
Yeah. Well, and there's another movie made under that production company by this guy called A Dog for Christmas, which is a film about a girl who wants a puppy, starring Dean Kane once again and Dustin Diamond, Screech from Saved by the Bell.
Wait, and he R.I.P. Right? Isn't he dead?
Yes, he made this before he died. He was.
Well, that's good. I mean, otherwise it would have been like a Weekend at Bernie's, like
right. There's also another. This guy does a lot of like animal films, I guess. There's another one called Amanda and the Fox, and it's a film about a girl who wants a puppy, but this one does not star Dean Kane. And then there's two different horse movies. One of them, I can't remember which one, does star Dean Kane. And there's also A Parent's Worst Nightmare, which is a drama about child sex trafficking starring Dean Kane.
Wow. Yeah, and this guy looks pretty young, too, in his IMDb picture. Also, kind of, I don't know, questionable. Maybe I'm just looking at him through the wrong angle or something.
No, you're looking at him the right way.
But just to like talk about the kind of movie this is, like, back in the 90s, when I was reading like film books on independent filmmaking, one of the genres that they suggest like to make if you actually want to sell it and make money is like kids / family films like this. So yeah, and also you can use the excuse, which I have a feeling he's got a tattoo, JPR, that's Joel Paul Reisig. I think he's got a tattoo on his lower back that says, "I can make my production like terrible because kids won't care." Like,
right. Right.
And
I got that vibe as well.
Yeah. How would you describe the like the cinematography of this film?
Man, this is a weirdly shot film.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and just before I answer that, did you in your research find that JPR here was also apparently like a boxer?
Oh, I see a picture of him here shirtless. I mean, I could only assume that was from one of his like boxing matches.
Well, and he also charges people, at least at the time that this came out, I don't know if he still does, but he was charging people $395 to attend seminars that he would hold on how to make and distribute movies.
Wow. Oh my. I mean, these have to be making something since he keeps making them over and over again. And when I was looking for the trailer that I posted on Twitter a few days ago, maybe yesterday, like it's his YouTube page. And he's got a comment, pinned to the top, and it says, he's like, "Hey guys, like this movie is made for 4 to 7 year olds. It's actually testing really well in our test audiences. But at the same time, I realize I may have made the worst possible movie of 2018. I've got a good sense of humor, and I can handle it either way."
Wow. Okay. Hey, good on him, right?
Sure. I mean, I think it's obvious that he knows what he's doing, at least in a limited capacity. But at the same time, like as a artist, like wouldn't you want to make something better? Like you don't always have to aim for the low hanging fruit.
I mean, he does have some other movies that are not like the one about child trafficking. That's not a kid's movie.
See,
right?
If this would have been his first movie, I could understand that. Like you got no money, you want to make something, but you want to sell it too. So you just go, I'm going to make a kid's film. I'm going to rip off Sonic the Hedgehog, and hopefully someone will pick it up. But I'm here on the IMDb, and this is looks like it's his 10th or 12th film. Like it's crazy. And
well, I mean, he's not putting a bunch of money into, because A Parent's Worst Nightmare, the one about the child sex trafficking with Dean Kane, it had an Indiegogo campaign that he made for it, and that it was only $10,000 was the target.
Wow.
Now he may have some other funding from other sources, but one of the rewards, by the way, was the role of playing Dean Kane's wife.
Oh, wow. Whoa, man. That's actually pretty smart. I mean, it's kind of, it kind of cheapens acting and movie production. But at the same time, there's going to be, some actress out there who's like, "Oh, that's my big break. Here you go. Take my money. Put me up there. And plus, I get to meet Dean Kane." Yeah,
some big Lois and Clark or a fan, or maybe she's just a fan of
Ripley's
crazy Fox News contributors, which is what Dean Kane does in his spare time now.
Oh, that's so weird.
Just I don't know, man. Just you had asked about the cinematography.
No lights.
Every once in a Yeah, dude, the lighting would change from literally one cut to the next. It's the same scene in the same room. One person is talking, the lighting is one way. The next person is talking, the lighting is completely different. The exposure levels are different. Every once in a while, there'd be an okay shot here or there. Did you? But sometimes there were hard cuts in the middle of somebody talking.
Yeah.
And they happened 2 times that I noticed. I was like, what the hell?
Right. Yeah, it was so bizarre.
I don't like it when YouTube channels do that, let alone film.
Right. So, all right. So basically, JPR's method for making movies is low input or small budget, and I guess big return. Because I mean, another thing they tell you in these indie filmmaking books is to get a name, no matter who it is. Get a name, because no one's gonna watch a movie if they don't know who they are. So I guess maybe he raised enough money for Tara Reid and Dean Kane, and then everyone else, and by everyone else I mean like the crew, like behind the camera. He was just like, hey, you want to work on my film for free or for very low money? Because I mean, I would say the people in front of the camera are generally pretty competent. Everything else is completely incompetent.
So, Steve, this is a wonderful transition opportunity, that segue that you've given me, because let me tell you about Dean Kane's time on the set.
Okay.
I found I really went down like a rabbit hole with this
Good.
movie.
Let's hear it.
I found the Twitter account of someone who worked on this film. They wouldn't say what they did, but they worked behind the scenes. And they said of Dean Kane, I don't know what Dean got as in what he got paid. He was only there for 1 day. And if I remember correctly, it was just 1 day's pay. He's one of the few people who actually got paid.
Ooh.
I worked throughout the whole film and never saw a cent that I was promised.
Dang. Wow. Yeah, I mean, like when the credits rolled at the end, and of course we're getting way ahead of ourselves, like he's actually got pictures of all the people who were involved.
Just 2 of them.
Right. Well, all right. I guess more specifically,
Well, 3, himself, and then
the
like
DP,
the director.
And I was like, "There's a director of photography." I thought it was just JPR sitting behind a high-8 camera, like shooting this thing, or mini DV at least.
And the guy is pictured with a red camera. There's no way that was used.
Right.
On this movie.
Well, I mean, I guess like even the greatest cameras without decent lighting can look like trash. But yeah, I can't imagine that JPR sprung for a red for this.
Well,
thing.
yeah, that's what I just mean. Like, because even just renting one is very probably more than the whole budget for this film.
Right.
So.
Yeah. He probably just found a friend. He was like, "Hey, let me take a picture with you, red. It'll make me look really credible."
Right.
Wow, that's crazy.
But yeah. And I know we're already like 20 minutes in and we haven't even like started talking about the plot, but just one other thing. When you were watching it, did you notice like the weird frame rate changes? Where like it would almost look like it's in slow motion.
I was watching this on a pretty small screen, so I didn't really pick up on that, unfortunately.
My God, it happens. And at first I was like, well, maybe it's because I watched it on Tubi and I'm like, maybe it's Tubi's service, but it's not. It would literally be like, same scene, a camera's on one guy talking, then the camera switches to somebody else talking, and the other person would be I don't know if they filmed it maybe like at a different frame rate and then tried to like interpolate it to like 24 frames a second or something like. But it looked like it was actually shot with less frames, and they're trying to like interpolate like the extra frames. So yeah, you just see like this like weird blurring between people's motions, and they're talking at the normal speed. The audio is normal, and then it would cut to like the next person in the room that they were just on, and the camera's fine for them. So it would literally just be like certain shots that they just like screwed up while shooting it.
And you just mentioned the word audio. Like the sound in general is like pretty bad. I mean, you can at least understand the actors, but you can definitely feel a difference in like the room tone. It's like nobody taught them how to, copy the room tone and like spread it throughout the scene so it's like even. Yeah, because I was listening to this on headphones, and that really like stood out to me. But hey, kids don't care, right? That's the JPR motto. And someone must be buying these. Like, I mean, I could see something like this showing up on a VHS in the 90s, and parents, and I can say this as a parent, they are desperate to entertain their kids, so they will leave them alone. And so I'm sure you see this like sitting in the dollar bin at Walmart, like they're like, oh, we just watched Sonic, bam, like Talking Hedgehog. This ought to shut him up. I mean, I don't actually say that or feel that way towards my kid, but I'm just trying to be funny.
Yeah, sure. Well, let's keep things because again, we're like almost like.
Oh no, this is gonna be an epic episode. I can feel it.
So the cast, man. I don't want to.
Wait, let me just mention the writer real quick and the producers.
Oh, yeah.
Just George Saunders. I mean, basically, he wrote Horse Camp, A Love Tale as well. This sounds like a fun one. Mutant Vampire Zombies from the Hood. And this was a weird one. Crusader No Regret, the video game. Are you familiar with the Crusader series? It was like on PC back in the day. They were actually pretty cool. And then, of course, this was produced by JPR and his production company, Be Your Own Hollywood, which still just sounds hilarious. It's like a Joel Osteen, I don't know, like type of thing. And yeah, let's go ahead and talk about the cast, which we've already talked about a lot, actually.
Yeah. So Dean Kane, as we mentioned, I know him best from Lois and Clark.
Same here.
The New Adventures of Superman. I was actually like a really big fan of that show.
Yeah.
Tara Reid. By the way, the poster, the picture of Tara Reid is like an old Twitter profile picture of hers that they use and just photoshopped it in. And Dean Kane on the poster, it's just like one of his headshots.
Wow.
So yeah, the only person that they took a new picture for this movie, I guess, might be Karina Martinez, who plays Lily. She's like the
typical
the hedgehog's like best friend or whatever.
Right.
I thought she was terrible, but she's a kid actress. I mean,
sure.
Yeah, we have Tara Reid, which we've talked about, who, of course, she was in a bunch of movies in the late 90s and early 2000s.
No one remembers that. They only remember Sharknado.
American Pie.
What? There's no American Pie. No.
Why did they mention that in this movie? Anyways, we'll get to that.
Right.
Then we have Colleen Gentry, who plays her mother, Dean Kane's wife. And I don't know her from anything. I looked at her IMDb. She's been in a few other movies made by the same production company. She was actually in a movie with the Fairy King, who was played by Grover McCants.
Yeah.
So I thought that was weird that they had some other movie together that had nothing to do with the Be Your Own Hollywood production company.
Right.
Mike Tremblay is the Roller, which is the main bad guy. Kind of like there's two bad guys, but really only one of them is bad. The other one's kind of like his goofy sidekick.
Right. Yeah. One is basically one is Mo and one is Curly, like from the Stooges.
Sure.
Basically. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm too young to understand that reference.
We're the same age.
I'm clearly too young, Steve. I'm hip.
All right.
Ernest Lee plays the. Is he the Mo or the what is
the Curly? Yeah.
The Curly.
Or the Daniel Stern, if you will, Marv from Home Alone. Yeah.
So he's the other quote unquote bad guy,
Right.
but his name is Bubba. And by the way, so these two guys, their parts are like at the beginning we're led to believe that they're gardeners.
Right.
But then later they're like, we're gonna check your home for termites.
Yeah.
And they're also going to clean the gutters?
Yeah, they couldn't fit. Again, this is why I think the script was improv. Like, because stuff just kept changing and they just kept rolling with it.
Yeah. Besides that, I mean, and hardly, like, maybe half the cast has pictures on IMDb. Like, Keela Jude plays one of the cheerleaders. And I wanted to mention her now because during the credits, which I know we'll talk about the credits, where, like, JPR, the creator of this or the director of this, starts just, I don't know, talking shit about the cast.
Right.
It's so weird.
He just loves to hear himself talk.
But he says, Keela says, praise Jesus a lot. Like that's what he says in the credits. And it's just like, why is Joel, the producer of this, calling her out for like being, I guess, too much of a Christian for him or something? It was really weird.
Well, see, he thinks that she should worship him, like JPR. You know? Yeah.
Right. And yeah, I mean, that's, there's more people in this cast.
It's all right. I think that's plenty.
The only other person I wanted to cover who, is in the movie quite a bit is Lily's sister, her older sister, who I don't remember her name.
I want to say Tina. I have it written here somewhere.
Yeah, you're right. Allison Rowe plays Tina. So yeah. Anyways, and yeah, that's the cast.
All right, ready to dive into the plot here, and I use the term loosely.
Best of luck, Steve.
So yeah, even on Tubi, I mean, basically how before movies people flash the logos of their production companies. Well, JPR's Be Your Own Hollywood, it's like a logo and a commercial at the same time, more or less, for a website where you can go to learn how to finance and distribute films, which, I mean, the guy's done a lot. Like, I'm a little envious. Like, I'm almost 40, and I have no features to my name, and he's got, like, 20. But anyway, so we got our opening credits sequence, which, man, can we talk about the music for this film? Like, the score, if you will. I mean, obviously, it's like almost MIDI sounding piano and strings, like
stock music.
yeah,
for sure.
and there's a lot of stock footage to go with it, like, and it
Yep.
just always plays because I'm sure they're trying to like cover up the bad sound, which is very typical of like again, first or low budget indie films. Yeah, so we're listening to the sad MIDI piano music with stock footage of hedgehogs over it. We open on 2 Home Alone ripoffs, and for some reason, Mr. Roller has an Italian, like a over the top, like vaudeville style Italian accent. I mean,
I thought it was a Spanish accent until he actually said a few Italian words. Like,
right. Well, I'm sure they couldn't decide on it. They were just like, JPR was just like, I just want an accent. I don't care what it is, just anything. And then I guess Andy starts talking, and his voice is already so annoying, just from the very beginning. He explains that we can understand him because of magic. Wow. And then he offends everyone by saying all animals talk. You people just don't want to listen.
He starts cutting a heel promo. You people.
Right. Yeah. See, JPR. Yeah. He hates his audience, just like most movie studios these days.
Yeah. But did you notice like how weird is it that? And by the way, Andy contradicts himself because he says it's magic, but then he says it might be a miracle. It might be whimsicalness.
Whimsy. Yeah.
Whimsy.
Yeah.
And then like literally like 2 minutes later, not even 2 minutes later, he explains that it was this fairy thing. So he does explain what it is, even though he says he doesn't know what it is.
Well, this whole movie is just they'll set up rules and then immediately break them after they set up the rules, as we will see.
I thought it was really strange that the movie begins similar to Sonic the Hedgehog. Where like they both like pause.
Oh
like,
yeah. They ripped that off. That's right. Yeah.
Whoa, this came out way before Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, that's true. Oh my gosh.
So if anything, Sonic the Hedgehog ripped off Andy the Talking Hedgehog.
Wow.
Because Andy starts with like he's like being kidnapped by the 2 bad guys you mentioned, and then they're like walking and they do a freeze frame, and he goes basically does the. You may be wondering how I got into this situation, just like Sonic did in the Sonic movie.
That's true. Well, all right. I mean, if you want to distill it down even further, like it's a trope that's used in, many movies. It's just very coincidental that it was used in both Sonic and in Andy the Talking Hedgehog.
I almost wonder if like the people working on Sonic the Hedgehog like did it as like a little joke,
Maybe. Well, I mean, everyone knows that, Lion King completely ripped off this, like, Japanese animated movie called, like, Kimba the Lion King or something like that. So, who knows?
Yeah. Anyways, continue with the plot.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. We're not even, like, we're basically 45 seconds into the movie.
There's a lot to talk. Oh, man. And I felt it. I felt every minute of this movie.
And it's only an hour and 16 minutes.
I know. Tell me about it. So... Cut to the lead actress, little Lily Mason, playing with Andy the Hedgehog. You'd think they would have started with like, I don't know how they went around conceiving this plot/story. Like generally in like these magic pet type movies, it's like, oh, you go to the store or the pound or whatever. They were about to put, animal to sleep. They're like, oh, I just found him on the street, and like you pick him up and like, oh, look, basically what I'm saying is you see the origin of when they find said animal. But no, we don't get anything like that with Andy the Talking Hedgehog.
I think it's for the best that they didn't.
I mean, basically anytime there's a chance to have any kind of like interesting something on stage, like basically or stage on screen, Andy just talks over it with his VO. But anyway, so she's playing with Andy. Andy tells us she makes, like already at the beginning, and it hasn't even happened yet, Andy tells us she makes a wish that changes everything. Now we meet Lily's family. At first I thought they said Nellie, but it's Melly or Melissa is the mom. Bob is Dean Kane dad. Tina, older sister. She likes boys. And then...
Pop music.
Yeah, and pop, because of course that's what all like teenage cheerleaders are into. Yeah. And then she also likes sexually arousing Andy by petting his belly. least that's what I took away.
Yeah,
from.
that was yeah. Like it was very weird.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the hedgehogs seem to be having a good time. So
right.
And that's
At least, I mean, there's no way any animals were harmed in the making of this film because they just sit there and do nothing, like in every shot.
right.
Including, coming up, Whiskers the cat, who I guess is also could be considered an antagonist for Andy. I guess he works with the Thieves coming up here. But anyway, he doesn't like Andy. And then... they constantly keep saying that he's old, like over and over again. It's like, we get it, he's old. Anyway, Lily wishes all animals and trees could talk, and then Tara Reid shows up. She puts down her cocaine long enough to show up on a green screen.
One thing this is one of the first scenes that made me go, ooh, this is not a good message for kids, because Lily is just outside. She hears Tara Reid's voice, like a voice of a stranger saying,
right.
Lily, come here.
Oh,
and
so
Lily
creepy.
just goes, okay, and just walks into like this woods
Yeah.
towards a stranger.
I mean, it's clear JPR doesn't really have kids' best interest in mind. He's just like, look, player, I'm going to make a kid's movie no matter what. Like, I don't care if I'm giving a good message or not. It's like JPR is going to produce something.
Maybe that child trafficking movie that he made is, it's actually a sequel to this. It's like a loose sequel where like some kid watched this movie and then started talking to strangers and got kidnapped.
Well, I mean, at least there's a positive message in there somewhere.
And now Bob, who goes insane in this movie, he's like basically like a serial killer for good though, and he's
so like Dexter.
Yeah.
Wow, that sounds way more interesting than that movie probably is. But yeah, so Tara Reid shows up on the green screen with Lily. And they try to have some comedy with Tara singing a Christmas carol, Better Watch Out, which I'm guessing she's allowed to sing because it's public domain. And even Lily goes, that's about Santa. And she's like, oh, oops, my mistake. So, it's like, haha, like JPR is trying to be cute or whatever. Anyway, Tara explained that she's Lily's fairy BFF, which, I mean... I don't know. I kind of give him credit for just trying to update sort of the classic tropes of like, she could have just been a fairy godmother. I mean, I know he's just trying to be hip and appeal to like kids and stuff, but whatever. You can take that any way you want. Tara says it's her first big job she has to do for the boss. And I wrote down here, Harvey Weinstein? Question mark. And then Lily asks why. Okay. And then I guess that's basically that. And then it's weird. They sort of transition to Lily talking with Andy. And then that's when she asks why Andy's lips aren't moving. And he counters with a very philosophical, lots of people's lips move, but they don't say anything. And I was just like, whoa, deep, Andy.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then I wrote down here, wow, this is barely a story. Anything you want to add to any of that?
I thought Lily's reaction to Andy talking was very understated.
Oh, sure.
In fact, most people's reactions, some people have like whoa kind of reactions, but others, some are just like, oh, he's talking.
Yeah.
And
well, basically they do the same joke over and over where first they'll just start out talking to them and they go, whoa. I mean, they don't actually go, whoa, oh my gosh, he's talking. But yeah, they do that joke like 3 times. There's a joke here about hedgehog envy, like, which, I mean,
yeah,
I don't even know why even call that a joke. It's just weird.
Yeah, he's like, Andy says that the cat has
that's
hedgehog
what it
envy.
is. Yeah, which is,
and it's just like, what is this, like a penis envy joke?
Yes.
What?
I mean, again, that's JPR trying to be cute. I have a feeling he probably like, he's got his script for his VO in front of him, and then he's like, oh, I'm gonna ad-lib some real zingers here. So Lily leaves and Tara's boss shows up. I referred to him as not Morgan Freeman, And at least here, it's clear he didn't bother to learn his lines. It's like he kind of stumbles over them a little bit, and he tells Tara that she violated a rule, which why wouldn't she even know about it, where animals are not allowed to talk to humans. This is so weird. He turns Tara into a JPEG of a frog, then immediately turns her back, and then...
Yeah. And by the way, let's talk about the special effects when she gets turned back into a human, which just involve Tara Reid squatting underneath the camera view and then just like slowly rising up.
Right. Again, kids don't care, according to JPR.
Yeah, I did think like the little like fairyland scenes with the green screen, they looked better than I expected them to.
Sure.
The effects they did, nothing like super great, but they actually did a decent job with the green screen. You didn't see like a big outline on people.
As a 4 to 7 year old, I would have been impressed by that.
Right. Yeah, perfect for stupid little kids.
Right. And that's exactly what JPR said while he was editing this. Okay, so whoops, I lost my. Okay, so where are we here? Lily leaves.
There's like a whole scene that I think you might have skipped where they're like, it seemed to go on forever, where they're like eating breakfast. I think this is when the family's being introduced. They're like eating breakfast, and like the mom is trying to get like the older daughter, Tina, to like eat some eggs, but she's like, oh, I'm fasting because I need to lose 5 pounds.
Right.
For this cheerleading thing. And then it is established that Bob, the dad, is like a workaholic kind of a guy, it seems like they try to establish. And I did read that Dean Cain apparently basically thought of this character as his dad, because his dad was not somebody that he's very fond of, because he was a bad father.
Oh, wow.
So there's something dark for you there.
Man, there's a lot going on.
Described him as unfaithful.
Wow.
Workaholic and something else I can't remember. But yeah, anyways, I just wanted to bring that up.
Oh, please keep them coming. This is all the backstory is way more interesting than the movie. So let's see. Andy tells us because of violating the rule, the Harry and Marv ripoffs. I don't understand my note there. And oh yeah, okay. So the thieves show up, and they're doing their Stooges shtick. And Roller, he has a piece of paper that says there's a contest to put something weird on the internet. Winner gets $10,000. So then they do what they think is gonna win. And one of them plays the harmonica while the other one burps along to it.
Yeah,
you remember that?
Yeah, so just stupid. Awful. Isn't there like a big fart sound too at the end of the scene?
Oh, that's later, I think.
That's later.
Yeah.
So, this ad that he pulls out. So he pulls out a newspaper,
crumpled, in his pocket.
Newspaper that he had in his pocket. Why would there be an ad in a newspaper for an internet?
Oh, contest? I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
Like, what? Just say that. Why not have him pull out a phone?
Yeah.
And be like, hey, look at this.
Right. Well, I guess a phone is not timeless enough for JPR.
Well, Dean Cain is watching cartoons on a phone later on, like in the second half of the movie, on a smartphone. Instead of TV, they keep saying that he's watching TV, even though he's only watching his smartphone.
Right. So we're back into the house, and we're introduced to one of Tina, the sister's friends, Trixie. She comes in and smells some toast for some reason and puts it back down. And of course, since she's pretty, she's dumb. It's pretty obvious.
Which is another weird thing with this movie. Like, for it being a kid's movie, like Andy the Hedgehog in particular is kind of very insulting.
Oh yeah,
people's weight.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've got those written down. Absolutely. I don't know. Maybe that's JPR. His mom was always on him about fasting and losing weight.
Like everybody, including Andy, calls this girl dumb, the cheerleading friend.
Right. Oh yeah.
And it's like, don't have your hero protagonist calling like people dumb in a kids movie.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of body shaming in this, if you will, and I guess intelligence shaming.
Like like of the two bad guys, one of them is like overweight, and
they keep calling
as
him the
Andy
fat
is
one,
like talking
yeah.
about them, he calls him the fat one. He's like, oh, the fat one's not too bad. And later on in the movie, he calls him fat again. Like, it's just like,
See, I just wonder.
this?
I'm like, is that how JPR actually like views the actor? Like, I mean, that's awful.
I don't know.
I hope not.
I don't know. I mean, maybe, since he's apparently fancies himself a boxer, maybe he thinks of himself some kind of alpha male, type.
But he's so skinny, though. We could take him.
I don't know, man.
You don't think you could take JPR?
Oh, no. Well, it depends. If he like starts reading off like lines from his films as we're about to fight, I might like be
die.
Too distracted. Yeah.
You'll turn into a frog. Anyway, Andy says he can only talk in front of Lily. This is rule number 1 that they immediately break. Andy says he can only talk in front of Lily because basically more or less because people will freak out. And then this is the first time I think we hear Whiskers talk, and I wrote down, wow, the director voices Whiskers too. And he's basically just doing an old man impression for Whiskers.
Yeah. Although it sounds more like an old woman to me.
Yeah, or talentless hack to me. But yeah, I mean, and if you haven't actually seen this movie, which Yahel mentioned that it's on Tubi, you should have gone and watched it for free. Anyway, no, don't watch it. Anyway, Whiskers.
By the way, I've never had Tubi play so little ads.
I know. Yeah, same here.
I got one ad, and it was like 30 seconds long, and that's it. Like usually you get like a few ad breaks, and there'll be like a few commercials in each one, and I was just like thinking like, wow, do advertisers have they just requested to not have their ads? Listen, I don't want my Charmin showing up on this shit. That's not the kind of shit that we deal with, over at Charmin.
Yeah, I don't want my penis enhancement like commercials on Andy the Talking Hedgehog. But anyway.
Yeah, well, maybe that company just has hedgehog envy.
No, way to bring it back, brother. Okay, so yeah, basically, if you haven't seen this, Mr. Whiskers is like a one of those cats that doesn't have any fur. So he just, I guess, looks old. Who knows if he actually is or not, but whatever. That just shows you the amount of thought that went into this. So the thieves for some reason they try to like lift up a ladder. And I wanted to actually time this scene to see how long it took.
Oh, I think it took 38 minutes.
They were raising and folding and doing whatever with this ladder for so long that I just, I mean, I was really close to just fast forwarding at that point, but I didn't.
Yeah. Basically, for those that didn't watch it, it's a ridiculously long ladder, and they're trying to like get it and put it up against the side of the house so they can go up the ladder, and they can't.
Right.
They're having trouble with it because it's so long that they can't get the weight of it to like tilt up. But so at this point the bad guys aren't necessarily bad guys. Like they're not doing anything evil.
No,
stupid stuff like the harmonica and burping, but they're just doing their legitimate job. They're trying to get this ladder on the side of the house to go clean the gutters.
Yep. So despite Andy saying he can only talk in front of Lily, he then immediately talks in front of Tina and Trixie. And I thought I saw they started taking pictures of them with their phones right then and there, right? Which comes into
pretty sure it happens pretty quickly.
Yeah, which comes into play later. So Dean Kane leaves and he runs into yet another cheerleader. I don't understand why we needed so many like cheerleaders in this film. Like just because they say, basic screenwriting 101 is that, you're only supposed to have as many characters as you need because otherwise they're just going to be sitting around doing nothing. Like we could have just had 2 cheerleaders, maybe even 1, and that would have been enough. But anyway, Tori shows up, actually, and passes Dean Kane as he's leaving. And I was not expecting. She checks him out and goes, "What is it? What a fox!"
Yeah, like she looks at him.
Yeah,
like she just saw Jesus, because this is the girl that's like, "Praise Jesus!"
like she's hungry like the wolf.
Yeah, she is like, undressing him with her eyes.
Picturing him
Yeah, it was
wearing only the Superman cape.
Yeah, it was weirdly like sexual, I thought, for like a kid's movie.
Right. I mean, I mean, maybe those cheerleaders are there to try to get, a slightly older demographic to watch this film, but I can't imagine like high school, girls would want to watch Andy the Talking
Yeah,
Hedgehog.
or boys, or I mean,
Right.
and it's not like, I mean, they're covered up, they're not like
Right.
they're wearing cheerleading outfits, but they're pretty modest cheerleading outfits.
Sure.
So yeah, just weird.
So, all right, something weird starts happening here with the Thieves, and they already start talking about how they want to get, quote, that rat. And that's what they refer to Andy as. They keep calling him that.
Yeah, because they saw him while they were climbing. They finally get the ladder situation straightened out, and as they're climbing the ladder, they stop by the window of Lily's room, and that's when they see like the hedgehog is talking to the cheerleaders.
Right. And then, just for no reason, Andy says he wants to go, I guess, explore the world on his own. And Whiskers,
he wants to go outside.
Whiskers tells him it's a dangerous world out there. So of course, in the next scene, Andy wanders around the yard. There's a bunch of stock footage of hedgehogs and birds. Before that, he tries to go down the stairs. I don't even think they even show him going down the stairs.
They show him going down one step.
He walks to the edge and goes, "Oh, stairs! I have stairs." Yeah. And so then Mr. Whiskers meets the Thieves and I guess tells them again about Andy, and that he wants them to like basically get him, I guess, for whatever reason.
Yeah, the Thieves are like, well, we'll just take you, and then the cat is like, no, because if you take me, I'll never talk again.
Right.
But what you can do is I'll help you. I'll tell you where this hedgehog is, and you can take him, and he never stops talking.
Right.
But Andy could just shut the fuck up too. Like, in fact, in the beginning, he doesn't want to talk to other people. So why wouldn't he just shut the fuck up?
Yeah, people. Yeah.
Rather than JPR shut the fuck up.
I know. God, tell me about it. So we're treated to more Andy wandering around in the backyard. He talks to some stock footage. And he mentions something about Mr. Whiskers being old. And then I guess just because they had footage of it, he immediately is like, "I want some milk. Please, somebody put down some milk. Milk." He keeps calling milk.
Yeah.
And then we're treated to stock footage of Andy drinking milk.
Well, it's even weirder than that because he says, "Oh, I guess Lily put out some milk for me."
Right.
But we don't see her doing it. So like you said, it's because it's stock footage, that they probably found like afterwards and just added that in. And I will say though, I mean, those hedgehogs drinking milk was pretty cute.
I can agree with that. And then, so I guess in order to kill more time, probably because they had the stock footage, we are briefly introduced to Mike, an old hedgehog who is a friend of Andy's, who's complaining about being old. He says some unfunny stuff. And
he says like he's got his tendonitis is acting up, his knees are hurting. And Andy is basically like, I had to tell Mike to leave because he wouldn't shut the fuck up about how much pain he's in. Like, Andy is terrible.
Yeah, he's a terrible person. He really is.
Yeah.
And then he eats a sausage off the ground, and then a dog comes out of nowhere and smells Andy. He rolls up in a ball and then takes a nap. So basically, all that was just to kill a bunch of time. So Whiskers is now chatting with the Thieves again. Andy is now back inside with the cheerleaders. They attempt to be funny. Head cheerleader says she wants to, and this was so weird, just this word choices. We should exploit Andy. She says the word exploit, which, I mean, that is like...
Who says that?
Someone who's writing a script for the first time, like a first draft, like whatever. That's like...
Yeah, because the thing is, like, if you are a person that's going to exploit someone, you would never describe it as "I'm exploiting you." That's how other people, who objectively see what you're doing, that's what they call it.
Well, I'm sure JPR wasn't like, "Hey, cast, I want to exploit you for my Talking Hedgehog film."
I don't know. I have my doubts.
So yeah, weird choice of words. They think telling the world about Andy will make them famous, so they can quote, meet the Kardashians. And somehow they start talking about, someone says, hey, Andy, like, do you want a girlfriend? And he's like, a girlfriend? Can I eat it? So bizarre.
Well, you get far along in your relationship.
I was thinking the same thing. Oh my God. But that's so weird. I mean, if, Andy is a sentient hedgehog, then surely he must be aware of like other female hedgehogs and relationships and know what a girlfriend is. But
how did he even have a friend hedgehog since he's never been outside by himself?
Yeah, good point.
How did he contact Mike? Like
a little hedgehog cell phone, of course.
I guess so. Like, I mean, I know again this is for kids, but I think even as a kid, I would have been like, huh?
Oh sure, yeah. Dudes who are into logic like you and I we would have picked up on this. A lot of Full House style humor here. Wow, and then. And this gets awkward. The thieves go into the little girl's room and say there's termites there. They tell Lily to leave Andy. And she says, well, I have to go to school anyway. I mean, and this is when the lighting and just the time of day is just, it feels like it's in mid-afternoon when they're filming this. So who goes to school in mid-afternoon? But anyway.
I don't know. And it seems like it's been like hours. Like, how early are these people waking up?
I know. Like, does this take place over like one day, several days? It's like,
or do they go to school really late? Because the dad already went to work, so presumably,
in the middle of the day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, he is like a sports agent, so maybe they've got strange hours. I
guess. So the thieves grab Andy, and then Dean Kane comes home. I can't call him Bob, but all right, Bob comes home, and the thieves fart their way back into the house. Dean Kane talks to Whiskers, and this begins the mental deterioration of one Bob/Dean Kane within the film. The film starts becoming a psychological study at this point. He checks his pulse and says that he must be having a nerve in very like, he's like, I must be having a nervous breakdown. Like, I mean, yeah, pretty, I don't know, just weird.
I don't know, his delivery was pretty funny on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he comes home. Why did he even come back home? Oh, because he forgot something.
That's what they use to try to cover it up. So Andy gets away while the thieves hide. Dean talks to Andy. They go lie down. Dean talks to a doll while Tara and not Morgan Freeman look on. Not Morgan Freeman says she needs to fix it or get used to life on the lily pad. Dean sits on the bed and then propositions.
Why was Dean Kane Bob able to hear them?
Well,
because he was able to hear like Tara Reid and
why did they throw that in there? Like, there was no reason to. Like, only Dean Kane and his super hearing can hear like outerworldly.
Okay. There are a couple of references to him being Superman.
This whole movie is nothing but a build-up to a giant reference of him being Superman at the end.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and that's and again, that's like JPR. Like being cute, making little references like they do in Marvel movies and stuff.
So this movie, to me, like, Steve, it's like there's really only like 30 minutes of story in this movie,
right?
But they just like take these like ideas and just like drag them out.
Sure.
Like you said, the stuff with the ladder,
wandering around in the backyard.
Yeah, wandering around in the backyard. They stretch the stuff out for time, and Dean Kane's like mental breakdown also goes on forever.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of scenes for it, but honestly, like, I don't know, something about Dean Kane's acting, for whatever reason, like, it was kind of amusing.
It was
because he was like at times playing it like very straight, like he really is having a mental legit breakdown. And I don't know, this is where I was saying, like, it just kind of became like two different movies within one. Well, it was so weird.
Dean showed up on set and he was like, I don't care what you guys have been doing, I'm gonna do what I want to do. We're gonna
And honestly, like Dean Cain puts in like, I mean, the script is, terrible.
right.
But and I'm not really like a fan of Dean Cain the person these days, but he puts in like a pretty decent performance, I think, with what he has to work with.
Oh yeah, his monologue at the end. Oh, I was in tears. Not really, but
like no, but like I don't feel like he like phoned it in.
No. He showed up for his 1 day pay and did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
So yeah, I put Dean sits on the bed and then propositions Andy for sex. I don't know. It was just he says something really weird like, "Let's go have a lie down" or something like that.
Yeah. Let's go to my room, have a lie down.
Yeah, and then now we're at school for the first time, and then Tara transfers Lily back to the green screen palace. She shows Lily everybody freaking out, or Dean Cain specifically. Getting weird, and like tries to convince her to change her wish. There's a weird line where she says, "You don't have to change your wish. You just have to make a new wish to reverse the old wish," which is pretty much changing your wish, is it not?
Yeah.
But this is when they all introduce. I mean, again,
I feel like this is something that happened in like JPR's personal life, where he made like a big, like he cheated on his girlfriend or something, and he's like, "Hey, yeah, I can't change that I did that, but I can fix it by not cheating on you now."
Right. Oh man, well,
he's trying to make this a thing.
He's quite the heartthrob, that JPR. We at the school, actually, before Lily is taken away, we're briefly introduced to two teachers that are in love with each other, but don't have the guts to tell one another. And we're also briefly introduced to the quote-unquote mean girls of school. I think they're briefly shown here, but then they show up later. And so yeah, we get all that weird wish talk. There's a funny line where the male teacher approaches the female one, and she's like, "I didn't see you come into my classroom." And I don't know, I just thought that maybe they were supposed to be awkward on purpose. But let's see, what else do I have here? Come into my class, she knows how she wished it. There's a weird line here where Lily just asks Andy, because Andy's at school with them. She goes, "How can you talk?" Do you remember that? She just asks him, "How can you talk?" It's like, of course she knows you can. She's the one who wished it. It was just a weird, like, I don't even know why it was there. It was so weird. But anyway, not really important. Anyway, meanwhile, Dean Cain is continuing his descent into madness. And I think this is funny that a descent into madness to JPR, a guy who was obviously at peak physical performance as a boxer, his idea of descending into madness is sitting around watching cartoons and eating potato chips. I guess when you should be at work. And then Mom comes in, and she's like, "Oh, the reason why you're going crazy is because all the hours you're putting in and all the breakfast you skipped." Like, there's a lot of talk about food in this movie for some reason. So Mom talks to Whiskers, and this is just comes out of nowhere. Mr. Whiskers recounts. First he recounts the plot to Mom for some reason of the entire movie, and then there's a funny line here that I wrote down when a mom is talking to Dean Cain. He says something about talking animals being weird, and she goes, "Pro wrestling is weird. Talking animals is nuts." And I just
it was real weird.
And then now we're back with the thieves for some reason. They say they have to get Andy tomorrow for some reason. I guess they're trying to establish a ticking clock, even though there isn't one. And then we see Andy sleeping with Lily in her bed. And then the cheerleaders, while hanging out, talk about their two teachers who are in love with each other. I don't know why, teenage girls would sit around their room talking about their teachers' relationships, but hey, that's the world that JPR has built here for us. And Mr. Whiskers tells us his backstory for some reason. That I guess the reason why he's so old and mean is because he had a girlfriend, and then she gets quote unquote truckered. Have you ever been truckered, Yahel? You ever get truckered?
Well, just one summer where I was experimenting at truck stops.
Oh, that's a great answer. But anyway, truckered is basically slang for got hit by a truck. And so this starts like basically a new, very dark theme for Andy the Talking Hedgehog, where the truck comes for all of us. So now JPR wants 5 to 7-year-olds to know that no matter what, you're going to die. No matter what, you're going to die. Need I say more?
You, your pets, your mom, your dad, everything you love and hold dear is only temporary.
Yep. I mean, wow. And here I thought like Bambi had some extreme messages back in the day. But so Whiskers gets grabbed by Tara for some reason, who tells Andy to convince Lily to change her wish. Is that correct? Did that happen? Whiskers?
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm. All right. I wouldn't have written it down otherwise. Tries to tell Andy to convince Lily to change her wish. Now we're in the morning. Dean Kane awakens, refreshed, to say he dreamt it all the talking animals. And then they start this really annoying, actually it might have even started before this really annoying, unfunny joke where the flowers keep going, and talking flowers.
Yeah.
God, that was so annoying.
And the flowers are voiced by the mom and somebody else.
Right.
One of the other regular cast members, yeah.
And so I guess Dean goes back to bed, and then Whiskers keeps talking doom and gloom. I think this is when he delivers the truck comes for all of us line. And then now we're back in Fairyland again, and then back at school. And then Andy talks to the mean girls and fat shames one of them, who's not even fat at all.
But Steve, just before that happens, he literally says, they show like an outside shot of the school, and he says that the best way to deal with people that are mean is to be nice to them.
Right.
You should always be nice, and to be nice. And then, like you said, he fucking like fat shames them, says something mean, and then they run away like screaming or something. And then he says, well, I guess I wasn't so nice. I guess I should have tried harder.
Yeah. It's this is all very questionable if you're going to play this for your 4 to 7-year-old. All very questionable indeed. Okay, so Andy talks to Miss Wilkes, which is the name of the teacher who has the crush on the other teacher. She says miracles happen every day, and I wrote here, miracles happen every day, my ass. And then Andy talks to the mean girl, or Lily. All right, they're in the classroom. I guess they're doing sort of Miss Wilkes says that she can't have Andy in the classroom, and she says, but he's my best friend. And then this ends up turning into Lily asks the mean girl if she wants to come up and pet or give Andy a belly rub for world peace.
Yeah, they mentioned the world peace belly rub like all throughout, because even when the sister is like rubbing his belly, like they talk about it being like a belly rub for world peace. It's supposed to be like what?
What is that? Like that just sounds like some sexual act that JPR enjoys.
Yeah.
Now we're back at home. Andy talks to mom about nothing, and then God, this is almost a Rick Douglas style, ordering around of the mom comes up. I don't remember exactly what he says, but basically he's like, can I have some milk and then something else? Basically he's ordering the mom around like a maid, and he
wants like crackers and he wants them brought upstairs.
Yeah, and she just goes right ahead and does it. So
yeah,
this is the wokeness of one JPR. And then there was some more body shaming comes up. Bob and Mom are having a chat. And why didn't I write it down? I was so tired.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. So Dean Kane, as he's having this mental breakdown, he keeps doing two things: watching cartoons and eating chips and candy and junk food, usually potato chips. And he's actually eating potato chips during the scene. And then he asks her if they have like
more
some
chips.
Candy or whatever.
Oh no, gummy bears. That's what it is. Gummy bears.
Yeah, gummy bears. And she's like, no, you can't have any more candy. And he's like, why not? She's like, because you'll get fat.
Yeah, she says it with such conviction too.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was like, wow.
No wonder the daughter feels like she needs to like fast to lose 5 pounds, even though she's already thin. You know, like this mom is. It's not good. It's obviously affected Andy. He's fat shaming people.
Yeah, there's so much to.
Mom's the real villain here, I think.
There's so much to unpack in this movie. My God, and the psyche of one JPR. So the cheerleaders present Andy as a science project, and it's less of a science fair and more like a actual presentation. Like they stand up.
Like a science show and tell.
Right, yeah. They stand up in front of the student body or the class or whatever it is, and then they just outright go, our Andy can talk. And then then he starts like chirping or whatever. And then it's later revealed that Lily wished that the two teachers would get together. So they do, and now Andy won't talk. And so they laugh at all the cheerleaders get laughed, and then their rep in their high school is completely destroyed for the rest of their years.
So it seems like the way like this wish system works is you can only have one active wish at a time.
Thank you.
Right? So
Thank you for clearing that up.
Yeah. So basically, because I thought at first when she said, you don't have to wish for it not to happen, just wish something to undo it. I thought her wish was supposed to be, I wish animals couldn't talk. But no, that's not it. Just any other wish will supersede the previous wish.
Right. And then we have another like really, really like another very surprising line where Tori, the captain of the cheerleading squad, she basically like very bitchingly tells the mom that if she doesn't get her house under control, then she can't hang out there every day anymore.
She says, it was actually kind of funny. Like she's like, I won't live here. Yeah, if you don't get your house in order, I won't be able to live half my life here or something like that, or spend half my time here.
And again, mom just takes it. And I think the thing with that line is that it was supposed to be delivered like a little bit more sort of comedically, but this girl, she delivers it as like a complete insult. And that's what.
Well, she said something insulting to the mom earlier in the movie too. Something like, because the mom was telling her about how she's like a good captain of the cheerleading team, and she's like, yeah, it's all about like being in control, and not losing it, and then she says, my kids, otherwise I'd end up like you. She says something like that.
Whew, man, what is going on with that dynamic? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, all that was missing was for her to call her a fat ass.
Right. And Tori really wants like Dean Kane. She wants to like get the wife out of the way. Get in there,
praise Jesus,
and get some sweet Kane action. So all right,
it's called getting deaned.
Yeah, that's real. Hashtag getting deaned. Okay, so the thieves engage in more Three Stooges hijinks, like the old stepping on the rake thing, but they're not the Three Stooges, so they're awful at it, and it's not funny. Andy ends up saving Mr. Whiskers from getting run over by a truck. Of course, you don't even really see anything. You just sort of hear some sound effects. And then Dean Kane stops Andy from being stolen by Mr. Wiper, the guy with the Italian accent.
Oh, man. You got to break this scene down, though.
Go for it.
Oh, okay. Sure. So I think like somebody yells, right? To the dad or something about what's happening. So Dean Kane opens the front door. By the way, how weird was it that the front door to their house is a giant sign like over the archway that like says the full address of the house?
Oh, I didn't notice that.
And this is like a real house. So
there it is right now on the.
Yeah, I wonder if that's like the actual address.
Right.
of this. I thought that was weird. I'm surprised they didn't cover it up, but I shouldn't be surprised.
We should go. We should visit that house and like.
It was a pretty nice house.
Yeah.
But anyways, so they start to. So he comes out. He's wearing a bathrobe, and like sweatpants, and they start playing this like music that's
sort
like
of wannabe Superman theme. Yeah.
Yeah, like a Superman / superhero rip-off kind of a theme. And they kind of do some slow motion, and they said something about him being super. That he's a super dad or something.
Right,
him,
right at the end. Yeah.
Like Andy's like, oh, thankfully, Lily has a super dad,
Yeah.
and it's mentioned earlier in the movie that he played football.
Right.
Growing up, and that he almost like did it professionally. Anyways, he like takes off and starts running, and it looks like Dean Cain legitimately like took off like like pretty fast. Anyways, he like tackled, kind of like pushes violently. You know what he did, dude? You remember Monty Brown from TNA? He gave him the pounce.
Nice.
He kind of does the pounce finishing maneuver, you know.
Right.
And the guy, they didn't use a stunt man, so it's like the legitimately old guy playing one of the cooks, and he takes like a pretty hard bump, it looks like, on the ground, and then just rolls and rolls for a while.
Yeah.
Hopefully he wasn't holding the real hedgehog.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's hope.
But yeah, the music is just hilarious. And then like after he like knocks him down, Dean Cain, who's still out of his mind, puts his foot on the guy's chest and just like starts looking up. And I think they used like some slow motion, and they use like some like different. It started to change the music into like some like orchestral, you know, triumphant music.
Sure.
Then Bob's wife appears wearing a cheerleading outfit.
Yeah, for no. Like the way they tried to explain that. Oh yeah, they go. She's like, "Why am I wearing a cheerleading outfit?"
She's like, "Have I always been wearing this cheerleading outfit?"
And he's like, "In my mind, you always have," or something like that.
Yeah, he says something like, "In my mind, you have been," and then he looks dead at the camera,
breaks the fourth wall. Says, that blew my mind.
Yeah, he did. And then he says, very dead serious, because this is a figment of my imagination. Yeah. I thought the movie was about to end, and I was about to like, this is the greatest film I've ever seen.
That would have been the best ending ever.
But I legitimately, I honestly, like, from the moment that like he did the whole Superman thing till the credits, I was pretty much laughing the rest of the movie.
Oh yeah, they really stuck the ending with this shitty movie. Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, that's just the power of Dean Cain, man. Like, if he wouldn't have been here, I think, I mean, it would have been a complete waste. But yeah, this movie is quite the anomaly. It's, I'm surprised more people aren't.
Way too long.
Yeah, way too. That's one thing.
And it's only an hour and 16 minutes, including the credits. So
yeah, the pacing sucks. Like, that's like one thing that.
Yeah, it's very back and forth. Like the second and third act, kind of like, you know, the stuff you would see normally in those acts, they kind of go back and forth. It's
right. Yeah, they really took a hatchet job to it in editing.
Yeah.
Wow. So anything? Well, of course, we need to talk about the credits. If you stick around for the credits, basically, JPR as Andy still continues talking, and he basically rags on the cast members and just says random stuff about them.
Well, first he like talks about himself. He's like, "Oh, who did the voice of Andy?" And you know, they show a picture of JPR, Joel Paul Reisker, whatever his last name is, and he's like, and they do kind of a bit that, I mean, it was kind of funny, or would have been, but where then the cat like makes fun of JPR, talking about Andy's first says that he's a big time director or whatever,
Producer.
Which I thought, oh Jesus Christ. Right. And then the cat is like, no, he's not. He's small time. What are you talking about? So I appreciated that. And then he's like, the cat says something like, oh, no wonder you sound like an idiot to Andy. And then they show who did the voice of the cat, and it's the same person. And then the cat's like, oh, wait a minute. Let's just talk about the actors.
See, that's JPR being cute. My goodness.
So I mean, I thought like it was a cute idea. But then when they talk about the actors, they talk about Dean Cain, and Andy's like, yeah, it was so weird. Like JPR must want to fuck Dean Cain so bad, because he's like, oh, let's talk about Dean Cain. You know, he played Superman back in the day. And then they go, he's 50 now, but man, you wouldn't know it looking at him. He still looks great, and look at that hairline.
God.
Like, what?
Oh,
what?
JPR, my goodness.
And then they show Tara Reid, and they talk about how she's been in Sharknado movies recently. And then they said, oh, and she was in American Pie. Why are you telling kids about this American Pie movie?
Yeah, well, I think JPR at this point is amusing himself. I think he's amusing himself
for sure.
a lot throughout
He's popping
the
the boys
film.
in the back.
Yeah.
As we say in the wrestling biz, he's popping the boys in the back.
Wouldn't it be awful if, like, after he's like done, he goes back and hangs out with like Dennis Villanueva and all the other big time directors, and it's like, hey, look what I got, and he's like friends with them and not like the Weasley fuck that we think he is.
Right. And then they show the mom. He doesn't say anything mean about her or anything weird. I think he just says that she was like very nice to everybody. I think is actually what he says. And then they show Keela, who plays Tori, the cheerleader that's in love with Dean Kane, and that's what he says. Keela says praise and he's doing this in the voice of Andy the Hedgehog the whole time.
Right.
He's like, Keela says praise Jesus a lot. Like a lot. Just like,
well, when we make the Obscurity Now movie, whatever that might be, we're gonna make fun of the credits in the end, just like they did here. It's gonna be great.
Yeah. And I think maybe the best part is they show the dumb cheerleader. I don't even remember her name.
Trixie.
Was she Tori?
Trixie.
Okay. So they show Trixie, and of the actress, he talks about how that actress hit the mother's car in real life.
Oh wow.
Oh, you didn't stick around for the whole. Okay, so I stuck around for the whole thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then the cat goes, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah, the car was even parked, and she just bam right into her."
Oh my gosh! Wow.
So now I'm like, well, this is why he was so nice about the mother when she was on screen. You know, he doesn't try to avoid a lawsuit or something.
Man, I guess JPR does not believe in kayfabe. He's just gonna spill the beans on all of his cast.
Dude. And yeah, you're right, because then they show the two bad guys, and he says, Bubba's actually played by Ernest so and so, and Trolley's played by blah blah blah. He talks about how they're really nice guys in real life, and whatever. So yeah,
wow.
And I think that's the last of the actors that they show, and then they cut to regular scrolling credits. And
wow, what an adventure. Well, here, let me run the bumper, and then we'll answer the question.
Remember, you're rated. Next is the question.
All right, this is the part of the show where we decide if the movie or whatever it is that we just watched gets tossed into the black hole of obscurity or remembered for all of time. So, Yahel Velazquez, should Andy the Talking Hedgehog be tossed in the pit of obscurity, never to be heard from again, or should it be remembered for all of time?
Man, this is a tough one, because
really
it's
hard.
like, it's not a good movie, right?
No.
But the question really is it so bad that it's good, or is it just regular bad?
That's the real question.
And there are times where it really is so bad that it's good. I'm gonna give it a yes. Actually, I think I'm gonna give it a yes, because I think like the end, like really, I hate to say this, I felt rewarded for sticking it to the end.
I 100% agree. Like most of it, as a filmmaker myself, I was insulted by like just the terrible. Like technical abilities and even the poor script writing and the weird dialogue choices, but yeah, the stupid Superman reference at the end, Dean Kane breaking the fourth wall, like
and Dean Kane's breakdown, some of his breakdown is just like, I don't. It really felt like a different movie. Like if you just added ominous music to the scenes where he's having his breakdowns, like it would feel like you're watching a thriller.
You just gave me a good idea for some YouTube videos. Hopefully that, assuming they won't get copyright claimed. But
I don't think you have to worry.
So, wow, I can't believe we are going to save Andy the Talking Hedgehog. So here comes the bumper.
In accordance to Obscurity Now, the most important streaming YouTube podcast in all of the internet, you shall be remembered. Yes. good show. Good show.
Whew, what a...
I think we may need to rename the podcast to No Credibility Now, because
I don't know. I could see, like, all right, this probably would have been a lot more fun, like, if you and I were in the same room with some drinks, like, watching this, so we could hear each other make fun of it. And that's what I would encourage any of you who decide to watch this to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's on Tubi, so it's free anyway, and you only have to sit through one commercial. And then also hearing all the facts, like, behind the film, the egomaniacal maniac that is JPR. I mean, this was an adventure. It was an adventure.
Yeah, it's, man, like, I think you hit the nail on the head. That the way to do this is watch it like you would The Room with some friends. It's not on the same level as The Room.
No.
The Room is definitely more enjoyable overall.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, like, the because the end shit with, like, Dean Cain and the Superman references and him breaking the fourth wall, it's so, like, sudden and
just out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's both out of nowhere and not out of nowhere.
Yeah, expected and not expected somehow. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing. And then, like, the mom, it just gets absurd. Like, the mom is suddenly wearing, like, this cheerleading outfit. So has this school had the same cheerleading outfits since, like, for the last 40 years? Did she just take one of the spare ones from her daughter? Like, what is going on here? A lot of questions.
Yeah, and all the weird little, I mean, I guess JPR just amusing himself. Like with when Dean Cain, when they try to explain the cheerleading outfit, like, I mean, they had to put some work into that, because they would have to go and, like, hunt down an adult-sized cheerleading outfit and then write it in the script why she's even wearing it.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, she's pretty much the same size as these girls, though.
True that.
Like the head cheerleader that was mean to her I think they're both, like, the same height. So I wonder, because the cheerleaders were also in the shot.
Yeah, they were in the background.
Yeah. So it wasn't one of their outfits, but yeah, man, just I don't know. This is watch it with someone, have some drinks, plow through the first
45 minutes.
30, 45 minutes, and then once you get to, like, Dean Cain's breakdown, it starts to get a lot more bearable.
Right, when it becomes a psychological study. It's great.
But there's lots of things we didn't even touch on. I recommend watching it, like when Trixie thinks that Tori is dead, when she faints, when the hedgehog starts talking and she starts taking pictures with her, selfies with her. Like,
that was weird.
Weird stuff. Weird stuff.
For sure. Yeah. Well, anything else we need? I mean, I think we can close the book on Andy the Talking Hedgehog for now.
Yeah, I think we can close the book.
All right. Speaking of books, I have a free digital preview of my soon-to-be crowdfunded comic book. At least I hope. I haven't even started Escape to Earth. It's 8 full-color pages. All I need is an email. You can direct message me on Twitter, on the at Reptilian Media Twitter, or you can just shoot us an email. I mean, all the links are going to be below in the description, or even comment, if you will. Anything going on with your projects you want to add, Yahel?
Well, I do want to say I read, because I don't think I've talked to you since I read Escape to Earth.
No.
Or I don't think I've talked to you about it. Hate it. No. It was really good. I mean, it's only 8 pages, so I guess saying it flies by is maybe not as complimentary as it might sound initially. But yeah, man, like, I went through it super quick. It was really well done. The lettering is terrible, but no, I'm just kidding. Steve did the lettering for the first time letterer. No, dude, it felt like I was reading, a professional,
thanks, man.
well done comic book. I'm really proud of you, man. You did a really great job.
Thanks. Yeah, we'll just have to. Hopefully, everyone will check out the crowdfunder once it's up there. But how's the?
No, as far as my project,
man,
I hated the script that I had written, so I ended up.
You called JPR and he took care.
No, I literally shift deleted the file. I didn't even want to use it as a reference, and I just rewrote the whole thing. So yeah, it's 6 pages now, which is good because it's shorter. It's better. Now the downside is I have to try and edit this by this week, because I'm supposed to put this out Saturday to keep my sponsorships happy.
Hey, somebody actually showed up in the chat. Let's see, Detroit Retro Gamer. We're potting
we're
just for
potting
you,
for
buddy.
you.
I thought you were saying popping. I'm like, yeah, you damn right we're popping.
Yeah. But yeah, new video should be on the history of Perfect Dark, should be out next Saturday, or this Saturday, I guess.
Yeah, and speaking of new videos, I guess we will have to talk off air about what to do next week. But once we get closer to Thanksgiving, we're going to be discussing Thanksgiving Day.
Thanksgiving. Yeah, Thanksgiving. Awesome film. If you guys are going to watch it ahead of time, don't watch it with children around.
Yeah, and actually don't watch Andy the Talking Hedgehog with children around either. There's a lot of talk about death in there.
Yeah. If you watch this with your toddler or 7-year-old or whatever, you're just going to turn them into a little fat-shaming asshole that talks to strangers. So don't.
Detroit Retro Gamer,
Detroit Retro Gamer.
Says we're under-subbed. And yeah, thanks so much for dropping by. You'll have to come by earlier next time. Or maybe you were there the whole time, just not texting. I don't know. But thanks for dropping by either way. And we will see everyone, or just hear everyone, next week as we continue to unearth more obscure media. See you next time.
You've been enjoying Obscurity Now, a podcast that's recorded live to tape and streamed to Twitch and YouTube. Subscribe so you never miss an episode or hilarious quip. Take us with you by following the download links provided in the show notes to wherever you get podcasts. And take notice of our various social media links. If that's what you're into, I'm not here to judge. And make sure you join us live next week at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific as we continue to discuss more obscure media only on Obscurity Now.